What's going down, y'all? One half of the Wake Up Crew here to talk some WNBA prop bets for this Wednesday, May the 18th, 2022 WNBA slate. Only got one game on the docket tonight, the Seattle Storm versus the Chicago Sky. And about 45 minutes ago, it was announced that Breanna Stewart, the all-star forward from the Storm, back, returning from health and safety protocols. She's missed the past two games. She's back in the lineup. PrizePicks has already updated the board. We'll talk about how this impacts some of the other players. Lines have already been adjusted. Quick recap of the last plays that we talked about on the last video. We were 2 for 2 on those. De'Erica Hamby, she hit her par, as well did Ryan Howard. She hit everything. Points, par, fantasy score, everything. Ryan Howard is just a stud. Auto lock. PrizePicks want to keep giving us 21.5 par, 27.5 fantasy score. We will continue to smash the over on Ryan Howard. She looks like a superstar in the making. We did miss out on Alyssa Thomas. Listen, I didn't know the Liberty weren't going to show up. They got beat 92-65. Alyssa Thomas averaging well over 30 minutes a game. She played 24. She was 5 of 6 shooting. She only shot the ball 6 times. I mean, 12 points, bad beat there. 15 and a half. Just the blowout bug. Wasn't really a bad beat. The blowout bug got us in that one. And then Elena Delle Donne just did not get it done scoring the bucket. But we ran the model. We looked at some numbers. We'll show some of those numbers and dive into the plays that we like tonight in the Seattle and Chicago matchup. Just so you know, if you look at just the pace of play, Chicago is slow. They're dead last in the WNBA in pace. This should be a good defensive battle. Some struggles there on both sides of the ball. Seeing how Stewart's going to get integrated back into this offense. What's going to happen with Jewell Loyd. But I want to talk about Emma Mason, man. I am loving the line that we're getting on Mason. Right now, her par is at 20.5. Like it, but I love the fantasy score a lot more for Emma. We are taking the over 26 fantasy score. You look at what she's done so far this season. April 30th, that was a preseason game, but 28.1, 29.2, and 50.4. The line is set at 26. And right now, in our projection model, let me just pull up what we have Emma at right here. 3 games played. She's getting her 31 minutes a game, averaging about 13.7 boards, 3.7 assists. This is where she's getting it done. She's getting about 3 steals a game, little under a block, and not turning the ball over. We have her projected at 36.4 fantasy score in this game, and PrizePicks is giving us a 26 line, 10.4 edge, 40%. I like it. Emma Mason, we're taking the over her fantasy score. Now, let's talk about an underplay, and they've already adjusted the line. Sue Bird's point total was at 9.5. Once Breanna Stewart was in, they dropped it down to 8.5. But I want to look at Sue Bird's fantasy score, taking the under on Sue Bird, 22 fantasy score. She's only eclipsed that number once this season. Again, this was without Breanna Stewart, 30.2 in that matchup. Over her last 5, she's averaging 24.2, but 12.9, 13.7. And if we pull the data up, let's pull up that good old data. Let's clear this out. Pull up the Sue Bird data. What's that looking like? 28.8 minutes, 7.5 points, 1.5 rebounds, 6 assists, giving her a par of about 15.3 fantasy points per game, right at 22.7, and that is with that one game without Breanna Stewart in there. Turns the ball over a couple of times, getting about a steal and a half per game, but this is one where I feel very confident taking Sue Bird's under fantasy score in this matchup, especially with Breanna Stewart back in the fold. And the last play that I want to talk about, let's pull it up real quick, is Courtney Vandersloot and taking her under fantasy score as well. Now, she's going to dime it up. She is going to dime the shit out of the ball every time. I mean, she's been, you look at her career numbers, she is really good at distributing the ball. But this season right here, 17.4, 24.2, and then 38.1 fantasy score over her last 3 games. Her average over the last 5, which includes a preseason game and some of last season, 26.8. But we're looking at the data right here. 29 minutes, she's getting about 11 points. So if I were going to take an over on Courtney, anything, it would be the points. 9.5 is what PrizePicks has the line at. But with this fantasy score, she's getting you about 26.9 per game, and that line right at her season average. There's really no edge here whatsoever. So I feel confident taking the under Courtney Vandersloot's 26.5 fantasy score. And the only other play that I want to talk about, these are the core three. Emma Mason over 26 fantasy score. Sue Bird under 22. Courtney Vandersloot under 26.5. Jewell Loyd, who's been balling without Breanna Stewart. I think she's had back-to-back 26-point games. And in between, those first two games with Breanna Stewart did not eclipse 20 points. It's set at 17.5. I don't feel good about taking the under on Jewell Loyd because she can get buckets at will, but I cannot confidently take an over. I see a couple of people talking about an over her today. I can't do it. If anything, I would probably end up taking an under on her fantasy score tonight. And let's just take a look at that. 29.5 is the line. With Breanna Stewart in the lineup, 27.6 and then 23.2. Without her, that's when she had those big blow-up games, May 11th and May 14th. If I did anything, if I wanted to you want to throw that in there, just to increase the payout, I would take an under Jewell Loyd fantasy score, but she is not a core play for me. So Courtney Vandersloot, Sue Bird, and Emma Mason are the plays that I'm going to roll with for this slate tonight. If you appreciate the content, let me know what you're playing down below in the comments. Good luck, and as always, if you tail, give them hell, and if we fail, do not bail. We'll be back tomorrow with NBA prop bets, more WNBA picks, MLB picks. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you tapping in. Good luck tonight. Peace.